ignition. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget about peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in a cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right guys, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
By way of good morning, Amin opens by insulting me. He flies in on a red eye. We've got a crew here that's hurting a little bit because Stugotz is sick. We don't know if he's going to make it during the show. I'm sick. Bad time to get sick before the Super Bowl. I believe that Stugotz would argue that football did this to him. I think that would be the official diagnosis from Dr. McDaniel. Yeah. We have Amin over here, and his face still doesn't look right from that fall after the holiday party.
Lies.
There's something that doesn't look quite right about his face, but the way that he comes in here and insults me by outside of half of his swollen limp is he comes in here and he says, Dan, you're an asterisk guy. You're an asterisk guy.
Right. What do you mean by that?
It's a big asterisk guy.
Really?
Yeah. Huge.
That can mean so many things.
Right.
So this topic is actually a couple weeks old from the regular season. You talk about Saquon Barkley, and you were saying if he had played that last game and broke the record, it should be an asterisk because he did it in 17 games.
I didn't say there should be an asterisk. I just said that it's not the same to do it in 17 games as it is to do it in 16 games or do it in 14 games.
How could you possibly disagree with that, though? He's right.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying that's an asterisk guy.
Okay.
That's
right?
a context.
All right.
Well, what is an asterisk context? Is an asterisk pejorative? I think of an asterisk as neutral, benign.
Pejorative.
I mean, but then you're also missing the context of I think he's done it in less carries. So it's an extra game, but it's less opportunities to do so.
Second asterisk.
But I'm just saying it's a nullified asterisk because you're saying that, he had more opportunities, but he actually had less in more time.
You got to put that second asterisk on there because the asterisk is at the bottom where you look it up in the footnotes.
Is this where you start getting like little 2+ signs? You're like, what the hell is that?
Now
Is
you're
that even
with
on the keyboard?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's confusing. Keyboards have been simplified but complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before, like, they were a lot longer, and then they had that secondary number pad and then all the little, like, tildes and stuff, like, on top of it. It was easy to find things. Now it's like there's however many keys there are, like, 34 keys or whatever.
Right.
You can't find half of the stuff that goes out in print. You don't know where people get that from, how they get it on there. I don't know. I can't even. Before I used to just be able to. When I took Mario Teaches Typing, and I learned in second grade or whatever how to type my QWERTYs. You know what I mean?
Or QWERTY.
When I was doing that, ASD, FG, all of that stuff, right? I knew Alt 164 was this. Alt 132 was that. I don't even know where Alt is anymore.
I'm going to tell you
It's
right
on
now,
the right,
Billy,
but I don't know where it is on the keyboard.
you're an old man because nobody uses keyboards like in the early 21st century. I'm typing on. Use it on your phone. You know how I get to all those weird symbols? You hold the letters down, and then a menu pops up. And if I want an O with 2 dots on it, if I want an Enya over my N, all of that's on my phone keyboard. I'm not out here trying.
Enya.
That's a fine. Venmo fine.
Enya, not Enya.
What'd I say?
$2.
You said Enya.
That's what I was talking about. I was talking about the band. If you hold down the N, the song comes out.
It is National Curmudgeon Day. Billy is an old man. He's been an old man since he came out of the womb. And I want to know how the group feels in general about both the asterisk and the footnote, because I'm not again the asterisk. I'm for the asterisk. I think the asterisk, if you want to give me more information that gives context to what it is that I've just read, I would like more context.
We'll get to that in a second. Billy is objecting in my headsets to you calling him an old man.
I thought he said Amin was an old man. He's been so out of the womb, and then it came at me. Like,
Billy, it's National Curmudgeon Day. When I think of curmudgeons around here who don't want to see anybody, you just argued on behalf of life is better lived under house arrest.
Oh, he's right.
well, I mean, when you see the people I see, you wouldn't disagree with
Well,
me.
but that makes it
There's
seem.
people I like to see,
Is
just not
it-
the ones I'm seeing.
this is your life, though, is something that you continue to make smaller and smaller, and you basically don't want you live your life within a very small radius on purpose because you don't want to interact with others. I believe that is the behavior of the curmudgeon.
Okay. Agree to disagree. I don't know that's how I live my life. Okay. I have good circles.
Do you?
Yeah, tight circles.
Jessica, do you have any opinions about the footnote? How do you guys? Well, I'm not going to turn to Stugotz and ask him how he feels about the footnote, but the asterisk to me is welcome. I don't have any issues with the asterisk.
I prefer when the footnote is on the page that I'm reading and not when I'm reading a dense book and the footnote is all the way at the end, because I'm not going to flip that many pages to the end. Also, I thought Enya was a Irish singer, not a band. Is that another fine for Amin?
Is it not a band?
Does she have a band also called Enya?
It's like Sade, I thought. Like where Sade
don't know.
is the name of the lead singer, but it's also the name of the band.
So it could be both?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I want to get some sound here. Nick Wright's going to join us later, and he's really trying to actively push Paul Rudd and Eric Stonestreet out of the way for #1 Chiefs fan in America. He's doing the Chiefs no favors because, like Amin saying, why is Nick Wright being on with us? Malley has been hearing Nick Wright on television. Malley in the other room, and he's been screaming and yelling that he wants to punch him in the face because Nick Wright is affecting his mental health because he's listening to too much Nick Wright. But Eric Stonestreet is mad at Adam Schefter, and basically this is what's happening between Chiefs fans and the rest of the country right now.
America wins because there's going to be a game. Don't get mired down in Adam Schefter's tweet. The league is favoring the Chiefs. I mean, he calls out Patrick Mahomes in his tweet like Patrick Mahomes is the only one on the beneficiary end of a roughing the passer call. He's got the biggest reach in all the NFL, and here he's out implying and furthering this conspiracy that the league is rigging the game against us. Here's the deal. I love football. I love it all. I hate that stuff. And here's what I also am. I'm pro freedom of speech. I'm pro freedom of thought. You can think, if you're watching this, that the league rigs it against the Chiefs. I support your thought process in that. But I think the one place that they wouldn't want that implied is Adam Schefter tweeting to all of his followers saying, yep, the NFL, it sure seems like they're rigging the game for the Chiefs. It's like, that, whatever.
It is amazing how much Eric Stonestreet looks like Andy Reid behind him. It would appear to you that photograph was a self-portrait in his home when you look at how much he looks like Andy Reid there. The thing that's happening with the Chiefs, Stugotz, it's unbelievably stupid, and yet the math supports it when you just look at penalties, if that's all you're looking at.
Right.
If I were a Chiefs fan, I would be so mad right now that people are trying to dilute and diminish my excellence by making it always about something other than their excellence.
If I were a Chiefs fan, I would not be paying attention to any other fan base and what they have to say about my football team.
It's all the fan bases. It's not a fan base.
No, I understand that, but my team is going for a third consecutive Super Bowl. I don't care what it is you have to say.
Stugotz, you are not invested in this if that's what you're doing, because fandom loves to complain about all of the other people who aren't giving us enough credit. You are detached from this in a way that's unemotional.
No, Dan, I love to complain about when the Patriots were going through it, Brady was getting all the calls. But if you're asking me if I were a Chiefs fan, would I care about all the outside noise? And the answer is no.
Yeah, I don't think that you represent Chiefs fans in any way right now.
Chief Kingdom, I went to the game, home opener.
Fandom is more fun when you're mad at somebody and then get to shut them up or not shut them up. Hear their whimpering complaints. Like, it makes it more fun if everyone is trying to take something away from you. When I believe we're all sitting here saying, my God, Mahomes is awesome. The whole erasing of Brady's memory is something that's happened pretty fast in that sport, hasn't it?
Now, Dan, I think I can translate what's happening here. See, Stugotz is a Jets fan, right? Mm-hmm. And part and parcel of Jets fandom is always hating your team internally. There's an internal kind of masochistic self-dislike that you have as a Jets fan.
Right.
So Stugotz is just merely transposing, well, if the Jets had the success that the Chiefs had, I wouldn't care. But the reality is Stugotz would care, but in a different way. He wouldn't be like, everyone's hating on us, like Chiefs fans and people from the Midwest do.
Right.
Stugotz would be like, oh, these guys, how are they going to mess it up? How are they not going to win 3 in a row? That's what they just could win 7 in a row, and Stugotz would still on number 8 be worried about how they're going to mess it all up because they're the Jets.
You guys do understand. Just make it about yourselves. It's not that hard. Your favorite team, it wins, and everyone's talking about the refs. And the games are fixed. Like, you'll eat some.
Yeah, but I'm winning.
You'll eat some of that up. You'll eat some of it up because beating that out of other fan bases, beating the respect out of everybody that refuses to give it to you stubbornly because they're sitting there calling it refs, and then you win the next year, and then you win the next year. And it makes me ask the question to all of you. I know he got his money, but Tyreek Hill's awfully jealous right now, is he not?
He has
because
to be.
they just win every time. He said when he was there, we can win 7 or 8. They can without you. Like, you got your money.
They are without you.
You got your money, but you feel what it's like not to make the playoffs for 24, not to win a playoff game for 24 years. You enter that building,
right.
You get your money, you get your stardom, but at the end of the season, you want to leave because you're so frustrated because you're saying, all I know how to do is win. They kept doing it there. Like, I was trying to think of who's more jealous of whom where when you watch everything that's happening throughout the sport. Is Jason Kelce jealous of Travis because Travis gets to keep playing? Is like, who is jealous where on what it is that you're watching throughout sports? Who's the most jealous person right now?
I mean, you don't think it's hard for Jason to watch his brother continue to win Super Bowls? Really?
He has a late-night talk show. Like, who imagined any of this for Jason Kelce? You think, he's like, I wish I was still getting my head bashed in. Hell no.
Why are we like 10 days away from the Super Bowl wondering who's jealous of each other?
I'll tell you who's jealous. I'm jealous of Jason Kelce. This guy gets a late-night talk show? Come on, man.
And we're starting to find out wasn't even that good at his job.
Yeah.
I don't think we're starting to find that out. I think Saquon Barkley makes a pretty substantive difference. Like, if I take off,
Push. We thought it was all Jason. And
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I would argue, perhaps I'd be wrong, but I would argue that whatever diminishment there is between Kelce and his replacement is not as great as whatever the addition is between Barkley and what it is that the Eagles had at running back last year.
That's not how. If you're the greatest of all time and there's no diminishment, are you the greatest of
That's
all time?
why I'm asterisk guy.
There you go. There he is.
Just hope he locked in some of these media deals long term. You know what I mean?
Tyreek Hill, though, gets his money, Stugotz.
Yep.
And
Doesn't get the winning.
now, but when he explains his frustration after the season where he pops off and he's like, I'm out of here. And he's saying, I've always won. I only know how to win. We've talked before, man, that game really hurts under all circumstances, but it hurts more when you lose.
Yeah. He's won once, by the way.
Well, but he not only won once, Stugotz. I remember the quotes. We can win 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
And they might. And you'll be one of them. It'll be hard to explain in retrospect. Like, it's like saying Wes Welker played with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
You're like, how did that happen?
It's like saying the Eagles kept going to Super Bowls and Jason Kelce was doing late-night TV.
Well, if you think that that's the same satisfaction, I understand, but it isn't, right? Success off the field in retirement, all of these guys will tell you that nothing feels like winning a championship with those people. Like, you will never replicate it anywhere in retirement.
This has to be killing Jason Kelce. Not only seeing his brother continue to play at a high level, going for another Super Bowl, but his former team. He's a year removed from that team. To see that team have this kind of success without him has to be killing Jason Kelce. He'll never admit it, but it has to be.
I'm with you right there.
Yes.
See, he's like, I'm Travis, I'm so jealous of. No, it's not. Travis is always going to be on the team that wins all the time.
Right.
It's the idea that,
Yes.
man, that team, you know how it is. You know how it is, Dan. When you're not on the show, you're like, watch the show mess up. And I got to come back and save the show because it falls apart when I'm gone. But then you watch and it's like, oh, the show was amazing without me. That doesn't feel good. You want to feel.
So you think Dan's projecting right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's worried when he's not here.
I would love.
I don't know.
I would love for you guys to do a year of shows where I didn't have to come.
Then you
I
could do
did 6 weeks. I mean, you took a sabbatical.
Then you could do a late night talk show.
We had fun this summer. I mean, you were there, weren't you?
I was there, yes. Replacement Dan, remember?
Yeah.
Step Dan. Substitute Dan.
Your step Dan.
A lot of great bits. But Dan was watching like, oh, my God, they're going to another Super Bowl. I've got to get back there.
You want to do it now? I'm happy to go for breakfast. You want to do substitute?
I'll go with you.
You want to do substitute Dan now? I'm playing with a guy who's hurt. I'm hurt, and you've got a busted up face still from falling after the Christmas party.
We could do a solo shot right now. I don't know what he's talking about. The only thing I have is my two.
Has anyone else thought this? Has anyone else
I
thought?
think some people make choices in their lives and their careers that they actually feel satisfied and confident by, and those aren't interesting to talk about on a show. I agree with that, but he's probably doing fine. He's got a great, happy family from what we can tell, and seems like a happy guy.
He was talking about Amin's face.
Well, I was also talking about Tyreek Hill. It became about Jason Kelce.
I was talking about Jason Kelce.
But Tyreek Hill, look, man, he went for money. Like, this is right now in the middle of what it is that you see on Jimmy Butler and what is joy and what is happiness and how it is that business is always getting in the way of art. Like, I ask you guys this question to think about it seriously. I know Tyreek Hill makes a lot of money. Of course he does. He's also going to need it because he's reckless and he's got a lot of responsibilities and children. And so he came here and he got his money. But what do you think he feels watching on television? Do you think he can watch the games without feelings to know, oh, that team doesn't even have a great receiver? That team has a great tight end, and what we did making it look easy, I ask you guys, as he chose something thinking it would be better, and then initially it was. He got stardom that he didn't get in Kansas City. But you don't think Tyreek Hill looks at not only Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce and is like, look at all of what they get because they get to be playing games now that matter.
To be honest, Dan, I can't really get inside Tyreek Hill's head.
I can. Tell you right now. None of that. First of all, he left. He got the stardom. He got the fame. He got the money. And at the beginning, he got the winning. There was a feeling of, and this is what every athlete wants. Number one, every pro athlete. Number one, they want to get paid. Number two, they want to win. Number three, and all of these are separated by a hair margin.
I think I think number three is higher than number two.
That they're winning because of me.
That's
yes,
correct.
I think that's number one.
I think that's number.
No. Don't get it twisted.
Close. It's pretty close.
Seriously.
Number one is the money. Number one is always the money.
All right.
They want to win because of me.
I would say it's almost always the money, but I want to win because of me is a very strong urge in sports.
Absolutely. And so Tyreek Hill started to get all those feelings. Even if they didn't win and the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl, I think in his mind after year one, it's like, this was a good move.
The Dolphins are good because of me.
Because of me. Everyone's recognizing my impact.
People are talking about me. Sorry, you mean. They're talking about me in a way they never talked about me when I was with Kansas City as one of the best players in the NFL.
And never would. They would it's the same reason Kyrie Irving. It's the same reason Kyrie Irving left Cleveland. Because he understood no matter how many we win here, I'm always going to be LeBron's little brother. People are going to ask me if I look at LeBron like a father figure and all those weird questions that we ask.
He was thought of so highly when he left the Chiefs that you guys are like, oh, the Dolphins are going to win 1 million Super Bowls now. I feel like your guys' ability to remember things that happened like 2 years ago, it's crazy. It's like it happened like 45 years ago. You have no memory of 2022 at all.
Welcome to the show, Jess.
It's somewhere in the middle, though, right? Because like Tyreek Hill wasn't voted the number one player by the NFL players in the NFL when he was in Kansas City. And like when he was in Kansas City, everyone knew he was good, but they didn't say Patrick Mahomes was made by Tyreek Hill the way they were saying in the Dolphins, Tua only is good because of Tyreek Hill.
Right.
So like he was well regarded in Kansas City. However, like when he came here because of his quarterbacking situation, he did get another level of respect and credit for the way the team was playing. And like to some extent, you saw this year, he was not the same, and the team wasn't as good. Now, Tua obviously missed 4 games also, but like you saw what the team wasn't with Tyreek Hill when he wasn't there.
Yeah, but wasn't Dan also one of the people that was like, good luck Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill, or am I just inventing that take from 2 years ago?
Yeah, but we realized real quickly like Patrick Mahomes was good without Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill was ranked the number 15 player in the NFL his final season with the Chiefs. So I know from 15 to 1 is a giant
Big
gap.
jump.
But it is. I'm serious. He had his best 2 years. His first 2 years with the Dolphins are his best 2 years by a lot.
And look up also on that
the
thing.
Only target.
Where's Patrick Mahomes on that list?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's probably ahead of Tyreek Hill, so he would get the credit for why it is that the team was good.
Yeah. See? Look it up. Look it up, Jeremy. Do your research.
I'm not saying look it up. I'm just
I'm
saying,
saying look it up.
he goes from being one of the guys to the guy and the reason why they're so good in many people's eyes.
I think it's pretty clear that what he sought when he left Kansas City, he got.
Yep.
It's just the last year plus has kind of not gone according to plan. And so I know he probably says, oh, man, this sucks. Get me out of here. But I don't think if you told him, hey, if you could do it all over, he'd say, oh, I'd just stay in Kansas City and be one of the guys. I don't think he thinks that.
I think that he was the third most famous person in Kansas City and third most responsible for the success. He was, however,
maybe fourth with
Andy
Reid.
He was, however, the most responsible for the fact that used to be a big play offense, and what Mahomes has become since then is someone who can't do that down the field. And in the category of do you appreciate things more when you get further from them, I'm sure Kyrie Irving now thinks differently about some of the LeBron James things. And what I'm asking you guys to explore is, how is Tyreek now realizing for perhaps the first time, oh, not bulletproof, can't just get 1,000 yards by being out there. Oh, I don't just win, and now I'm 30. And the job is to be faster than everyone else for the rest of my career, and I'm 30. And I'm just asking you guys if you think at any point he makes the register of, yeah, I cashed in. However, but I've got some solace. I need some solace because I need comfort from the fact that I made a bad decision. I made a decision that supported something then, but I didn't realize how hard winning actually is.
I don't think he made a bad decision if you were to ask
I
him,
don't
because he
think
got a contract that he wouldn't get, and he already won a Super. It's not like
He had
never
the
won.
Super Bowl. That's
he had
big,
the
yes,
Super Bowl. He
right.
got the contract
Yes.
that he sought out, and I don't think he does solace. And also, he told us that he's coming back next year faster than this year. So he's
think-
coming back at
yeah.
30 faster than ever. I mean, what would he regret?
Like, the way the sport works is that if you're good, you usually don't stay with the same place unless you're the only good player.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it's set up. So, like, I doubt he regrets his decision.
Like, I don't think Christian Wilkins regrets going to Las Vegas and getting the money that he wasn't going to get here.
I don't think Kyrie Irving necessarily regrets his decision, but when he looks back on it, he has a different appreciation in its absence than he had before. This is something Tyreek Hill would have never learned there. He could have been there, won, and felt underpaid the entire time because he would have never gotten to test his ego on what it is that it was here, where he was the number one guy. He was the guy responsible for turning Tua into a quarterback and McDaniel into a genius. Everybody was celebrating that this was his team. He wasn't number 3 here. He wasn't the third most famous guy. He was the guy and the reason for winning.
Are you making our point now?
Right. These decisions are hard to make in the moment, but I think just about everyone, with the exception of Michael Jordan, looks back at their career and says, hey, I could have done something differently.
So to that point, it succeeded, but he wanted out at the end of the season because the one time the turmoil arrived, it felt like garbage to him, and it was something foreign to him. Can we play the sound of Troy Aikman talking about Michael Irvin in the NFC Championship game? Irvin told us a story one time of being in the Super Bowl in some form of this kind of story where he's running after someone else who's on his team who has the football, screaming at him that was his Super Bowl touchdown. Let's hear what Aikman had to say.
That was in the NFC Championship game, our first one in the 92 season, and we had called this play. It was 896 F flat, and the 6 was a curl route, and the 8 was the skinny post, and Michael had been running the skinny post the entire game, and I'd never thrown it, and he had been running the curl, or Alvin Harper had been running the curl, and based on coverage, every time we called that play in the game, it pretty much went to Alvin Harper, and so there late in the game, we call 896 F flat. Michael would do this from time to time. He would try to line up where he thought the ball was going to go. And so he told Alvin, hey, you run the post. I'm going to run the curl because that's where he thought it would be thrown again. What's interesting about that is that I think because Michael went to run the curl, it created the coverage that we ultimately got. I don't know that we would have gotten the same look if Michael was the one running that route. But, Alvin catches the ball, and Michael believes that he would have been the guy getting it had he have not told Alvin to change position. Yes, he was running down the field screaming that, he was happy as he could be. It was not a selfish act on his part, but he was screaming that was his ball and it should have been him making that play.
Michael Irvin says he was just screaming and it wasn't happy. It was that's my touchdown.
Michael Irvin has the rare ability to be happy while screaming. He does. I've seen it. I mean,
I think that it is hard to place the ego of sports and the general selfishness of people inside of the team concept once you've turned it into business.
Yeah, I mean it's like relationships, right? It's like marriage, right? Every human has two innate urges in them, right, that are contradictory. Number one, I'm independent. I do everything myself. I'm the boss. I do this, whatever. And number two is I want to be a part of something bigger than me. And sports is like the ultimate training ground for that, where it's like, unless you're tennis or track or something like that, you want the credit. You want people to look at you as the reason for success. But also, you want to be part of something. You want to have teammates. You want to have people that lift you up, and you want to lift other people up and have that kind of camaraderie going. And so then what you're asking is at the root of all of this. Like, what does Tyreek Hill, by way of example, what does he want? And I think what he wants is kind of what he sought. He sought, to get compensated what is commensurate with
I would say wants it all. I would say when you ask what does he want, I would say
the money and the winning.
All of it.
But the winning because of me.
Because of me. Well, no, your point's a good one.
And so my fault. And so he never was going to get. It's like James Harden in Oklahoma City. How many would have won? They would have won 100. He never would have been MVP. He never would have had endorsement deals. He never would have been looked at the way we look at him now.
It's like Kobe and Shaq. I mean, Kobe has said that the 2 titles he won without Shaq were way more important to him. Why? Because he was the reason they won those titles. When he did it with Shaq, everyone would say, it was Shaq, it was Kobe, it was Shaq, it was Kobe. He wasn't getting 100% of the credit. When he did it without Shaq, he was getting all of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And here's the deal. When it comes to any of these guys, because it's the same reason, why didn't Kentavious Caldwell-Pope come back to the Nuggets? Why didn't Bruce Brown come back to the Nuggets? I won one. Like, if you never won one, I get it. I got to stay here. This is close. Once you win, it's like, man, like, let me take care of me. Let me get paid the way I should be getting paid. Let me get the credit that I should get.
Why are we talking about Tyreek Hill?
It's Dan's fault. I'm just yes-anding.
Yes, Dan.
He should go to Buffalo.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean.
Spagnola.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
Good idea, Chris.
All together, right?
Yeah, Spags. Tyreek Hill.
The band is back together.
Well, since you mentioned Spags, and now we've got Spags against Fangs in the Super Bowl, can you guys please get for me, because Warren Sharp is out here, and Warren Sharp, my God, does this guy dive deep, deep into the numbers. And he got to this take later than God Bless Football, later than Stugotz and Billy Gill, and I don't know if Billy wants to accuse him of stealing this.
Well, we
tape.
stole it from Bill Barnwell, so.
Okay, but you stole it first, and you stole it better.
That's
because
right,
you were there before Warren Sharp, and you said that fixing the Buffalo Bills in 2 easy steps would be fire Sean McDermott, hire your boy Spags. And I want to know how God Bless Football feels about this stealing, although Billy really undermined me, as he's capable of doing before I even got started, by saying that you guys stole it first.
I have to be honest. I did not steal it from Bill Barnwell. I didn't hear him say it. I didn't, read anything that he wrote. Billy, you may have stolen it, but I came in with a fresh thought that morning. I mean...
I literally pitched it to you on air, and you said that's a good idea. And then you came to this show, and I guess forgot that I did it to you 5 minutes before.
So you stole it from Bill.
Yeah, no, but I credited him on the front end.
All right, that's nice of you. Don't do that next time.
Yeah, by the time it gets to Stugotz, it becomes his idea. No, but this is how it's been happening for years. The whole thing's been happening exactly as you just described it. You on your platform said the thing correctly and sourced it, and then Stugotz, it became his idea, and he gets mad at Warren Sharp when he says Warren Sharp stole my idea. That's how it's been happening for 20 years.
Well, Chris also in here accused someone of stealing the idea from him when he in fact stole it from Jess without realizing he stole it from Jess just that day.
But I didn't hear Bill say it, but Bill's like not usually doing like super complex bits, but he was, I assume, joking about it. I want to make it clear that we are all being 100% serious about it.
Thank you.
Was he joking about it?
I'm not going to listen back.
Wait, no. If he's joking about it, I'm with you. If he's joking about it, then he just gave up any ownership to it.
Bill Barnwell does not joke about
He
football.
was half joking
he
about
does.
it.
He does.
Not
Right.
joke about football.
No, but it means right. It doesn't count. If he was even half joking, it
No,
doesn't
we're
count.
all serious. Yeah,
If
this
you're
is
dead
a real
serious,
take.
then it's yours.
How do you guys feel about stolen goods?
What's it? Are you dead serious about them?
Well, here's my question.
Then they're yours.
I had a conversation out there before, and I was like, look, I'm not one to steal, but also I don't ask where certain things come from. You know what I mean? Like, if someone steals something and then they gift it to me, I didn't steal it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I feel like it's still probably a crime. And to be clear, I don't have stolen goods. It was just a conversation.
That you know of.
hypothetical.
That you know of.
Yeah,
Right.
outside. Exactly. That I know of because I don't ask.
Depends on the level, right?
Like, let's say this jacket, for example.
Yeah. It's a jacket.
Literally this jacket.
So what?
Maybe it was in a box at Radio Row last year. It wasn't intended for me, but I asked someone, hey, how does one get one of those jackets? And then they snuck it over to me and put it in my backpack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you brought up Radio Row, Billy. Put these things on the poll, please, Juju. Does Tyreek Hill do Solace?
I have an update on Bill, by the way. He tweeted this, according to Taylor. I don't actually think that Bill should hire Spags as their head coach, but I do think it's a perfect debate show opinion. So he's basically giving us permission to steal it.
Free play.
Does Bill Barnwell joke about football is the other poll question at Le Batard Show, because I had the same reaction that Chris did when they were like, maybe Bill Barnwell was joking. It was like, what are you
No,
what are you
I said
talking
I doubt
about?
he was joking.
Uh,
That was
but-
not what I said.
Yes, thank you.
Not about something so serious.
That Bill
Does he joke about anything?
Yes, Bill's great.
Stand down, asterisk guy is here.
I heard he goes to Ren fairs.
I can see that.
Really?
I can see that.
I couldn't see that, actually.
He told you to stand down.
He does travel a lot, though.
Media
I feel like
members
he's
who
always in Australia.
media members who look like they go to the Ren Fair. I'm here for this game.
If you're always going to Australia, someone should ask questions.
Also, this is a bad week to joke about football. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the analysis discourse out there, but there's threats going on. It's a dark, dirty place right now on the internet.
Threats, you say?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It is today.
Ryan
it's a
Leaf,
dark, dirty
Ryan
place.
Leaf took things to a weird place
okay.
the other day. It was really weird.
Wow. All right. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Has Ryan Leaf taken the internet to a darker place at Le Batard Show?
A staple on Radio Row, Billy. Ryan Lee.
Well, I'm glad you guys mentioned Radio Row, because I'm
Super
serious.
Bowl week,
No, Stugotz, look, Stugotz may be sick today. Stugotz may be hurting at the end of a football season where he has alleged, and I don't even disagree with him, that football has been harder on him this year than it's been on any of the players. He is broken from flying all over the country chasing around football and Spags. He's friends with Spags. He is building a God bless football empire with Billy, and he's tired. And the season's about to end. And we got a lot of people worried because Radio Row is in a bit of an adventure for us the last few years, and it's been hard. But Jenny was looking around and a little bit scared about what next week foretells, and with his waddle swagger, Stugotz is like, this is the most reliable Stugotz there is.
Radio
Row Stugotz. There is no one more prepared for this. This is a holiday for Stugotz. This week, Billy, you're ready to
That's
own the
definitely
entire
his
thing.
opinion of how Radio Row goes, is that he's the most reliable, no one more reliable.
Well, no, I love it. The point I was making to Jenny is that's the place I'll show up 3 hours early. I'll be there. It's a content factory for me, Billy. You know that.
But you won't be on your set. You'll be walking around.
That's
Where's
kind of
Stugotz? Yeah.
that's kind of the thing. We're up against a deadline. We need
Right.
to
Smoke
record
break,
a
buddy.
segment. We only have 20 minutes. I got to go for a heater. Listen, we don't need to rush this. Let's just wait for people to appear. It's like, we only have 19 minutes left on this set. It's like,
Right.
don't worry about it.
Next thing
Super
you know,
Bowl.
he's cutting it up with Baldinger.
No, next thing you know, he's talking to Ryan Leaf and bringing him over for an interview and promising that he's going to get him into the Lake Tahoe tournament, and then the interview never airs and he doesn't end up in the Lake Tahoe
I
tournament.
still have to get on that from 2 years
Next
ago.
year
You're
we
right.
come back and Ryan Leaf is on set again because he's promising him the exact same things.
Yep, every year. Yep, rinse, repeat.
I know we're going to see Ryan Leaf this year.
Listen, you walk down, you take a stroll down the aisle, Radio Row, and if you walk into Jim Rome and have a 5-minute conversation, that means I'm 5 minutes late. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. That's what the Super Bowl is all about.
Look.
That's what Radio Row is all about. I'll have a 20-minute conversation about nothing with Mad Dog. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, but off air when we're up against a deadline. And I will say this, no one at and Stugotz, take this as a compliment because
Okay.
it's intended this way.
Thank you.
No one is better at Radio Row of figuring out how to leave, go outside, smoke, and make it back through security with 5 minutes than Stugotz. How he gets in and out of security so quickly to go smoke and do whatever it is that he's up to outside.
That's laying the groundwork. That's front end work.
Boom.
Okay, I befriend all the security guys. I bring them coffee every morning. They let me in and out whenever I want.
None of that's
I
true.
smoke indoors. I mean,
You know we've been there.
That's
with you.
probably true.
Bringing coffee.
Never
Absolute pro.
once have you brought coffee to someone.
not a
Billy,
not
what
a-
is true? Like, okay.
None of it.
Billy, okay.
Not a
No,
word.
the smoking inside.
Billy, I want to explore this, okay? Because,
No.
you don't want to explore this?
No, I feel like Tyreek Hill now.
I can't wait. It's going to be
Let's
so much
explore.
fun.
I'm framing Stugotz as reliable Stugotz during the Super Bowl because he's legitimately excited, as he is every year, about Radio Row. I am under no illusion that that's because he is working the entire time. It is because he's working it the entire time. He's doing Stugotz finger guns all over the place, and this is where Stugotz gets to be the most famous version of himself in the middle of sports importance.
Yeah. Yep. I love it.
This is how he knows all the local affiliate call letters. I'm always amazed when Stugotz like WKRP in Cincinnati. I'm like, how'd you know?
Yeah, but it largely amounts to nothing. I guess is kind of like that time would be better spent doing anything but
Billy,
that.
we are paying
'Cause it's not-
Stugotz for schmoozing.
I
at
know, but he's
Super
not
Bowl
bringing
week.
in anyone. Everyone else is booking these people. He's just walking around glad-handing, promising people hits he's going to do that he doesn't do.
Stugotz's
Promising
Senior
people
Bowl.
other
Yeah.
types of hits
It
he's going to do
It's
that
my
he is
Senior
doing.
Bowl. Yes.
It's just him just talking to agent. It's just like that's his. I'm not doing actual content here. I'm making relationships.
Why do y'all think they say yes? Like, what show
They
is it?
don't
Thank you.
say yes to him.
Oh,
They say
all
yes
do.
to the
They all
booker.
do.
The
Yeah.
booker says Stugotz is like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the
Yep.
guy that brought the coffee and was hanging out with me.
I want to get.
WGR in Buffalo could have a big week next week.
I want to get to the bottom of this, but I want you to understand we are very much headed into Stugotz's adult prom.
I'll spend all night out in Venice and make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling, but I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin, not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is! Maybe you once got at the Roxy. Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thimble of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game.
traffic is bad on La Brea. So come and join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey guys.
You gonna shotgun a beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now.
It's showtime, buddy!
The Bengal speaks. And the ram responds. The Bengal tiger is an apex predator with no natural enemies other than man. It's equipped with incredible strength, combined with sharp claws and massive canine teeth, designed for overpowering and killing its prey that can weigh over 1,000 pounds. It is, in reality, a finely tuned killing machine. The ram, on the other hand, though extremely quick and powerful in its own right, is a vegetarian that does not have to hunt down and kill to survive. Their massive horns are powerful, and they do have the ability to severely injure an animal with a well-placed bow, giving them the opportunity to escape. But for one to be able to overtake a Bengal tiger in a fight to the death would require a small miracle.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by Venmo.
Going to bring in David Sampson here, but I feel bad for Amin because he just endured something that I would not wish upon others. And I do think sometimes that we lose like perspective on certain things. For example, Tyrese Maxey is taller than A.J. Brown. He's taller than A.J. Brown. He goes in, daps him up yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that he was taller. But, of course, you're always getting fooled by the height of these people and how different some of these things are than you think they are. Amin went and saw the Wizards last week, and it is jarring. You don't get used to how good basketball is until you see it played that poorly. Like, to realize that your perspective has changed. You might complain about what basketball is today, but the teams are so good that the Wizards exist and they're not a professional basketball team.
Yeah, like it is. First of all, I've described the way the Wizards and particularly Jordan Poole, the way they play is offensive. It offends me as a basketball person to watch them. But watching them last week against the Lakers, I realized a lot of stuff. I realized that the Wizards aren't bad because they don't have talent. And I think a lot of times, was that me?
Yeah, that's a fine.
That's a fine Venmo.
Yes, that's a Venmo fine.
And Enya's not a band.
Well, hold on now. Let's not mix.
I got to get to David Sampson, so make your point, please.
Well, I didn't know I was going to make the point quickly, but basically, idea is that they don't lose games because they're not talented. A lot of times when we see a bad team, we're like, oh, because they don't have any talent. Oh, they stink or whatever. But a lot of times it's not the talent gap that's responsible for the misfortune. What's responsible is making sloppy, silly mistakes that they just not paying attention. So it's a bad pass. It's a dumb shot. It's falling asleep on defense. It's all these things that aren't, oh my God, LeBron and Anthony Davis are just better than
They're
us.
terrible at basketball.
Yes, but almost like as a choice. Because I don't think they're bad basketball players. I just think there is a collective don't give an F about the way we do this. And what also happens with bad teams is it is contagious. Meaning, why should I give an F? He doesn't give an F. And so no one feels a responsibility. That's why when we talk about culture and culture setters and all that, they're so important, is because those are the guys that make it happen and keep everybody accountable and keep everybody knowing that we're pulling in the same direction. Dan wanted to start with this topic, Dave. I wanted to talk about a different man, which is what I texted you about. But Dan was like, let me ask you about this. So I'm like, all right, I guess I got to do my thesis.
It's my fault.
Pretty much.
That you just did that. That David Sampson was kept waiting that long.
How were the Wizards?
So you could tell us that bad teams are bad. Okay.
No, it's your fault.
That was the topic you picked to start. You didn't say, hey, David, what you got for us? You said, hey, Amin, let's talk about bad teams. I'm like, okay. I mean, David's waiting, but who am I? I'm just a good soldier. I follow the captain's orders.
You think that was good soldier. You think this is good soldier. What kind of army do I have?
The worst ever.
Oh, my God, right? Look at him. Like, this is the soldier who gets me killed in battle. It's like, aren't I a good soldier? I'm so
You're the
good
one
at
who
soldiering.
gets killed, like, right as it starts. Like, right as the
It's
scene
my
starts.
fault that I threw the ball to him, and he's like, I didn't know you were going to ask me to dribble for this long.
No. It's your fault that you called the play. Like, we're going to post up Amin, but David's in the game. No. It's an Amin post up. So Amin posts up and he backs up and he goes up and under and he gets fouled and he goes to the free throw line and David's like, I haven't touched the ball for 13 seconds. Well, David, I'm sorry. The play was called for me. You don't like it?
I'm
Talk
just
to coach.
upset. I mean, that not only did you not get to the free throw line, but basically you backed up and then you traveled and then threw up a brick.
And then you said the coach
That's
called a
what
bad play. That was a bad play by the coach.
That wasn't no brick.
Why did I turn into
You
Zazzle?
also rattled him, Samson, because he could see your face and the disgust, and you actually tapped on your watch, which is an incredible move to tap on your watch. Is like, man, Amin's really hogging all my time here.
Oh, I just thought he was hogging the audience's time. I wasn't as concerned about me. I was just very concerned about the Wizards situation.
He tells me right before the microphones come on, I went to a Wizards game last week.
That's still
and
your
you get
responsibility.
shot right in the head.
That's still your responsibility to say, all right, that's cool. I'm going to go in a different
Well,
direction.
I thought you wanted. Okay. This is all right. I mean, this is what happens on bad teams right here, where it's like he shoots himself in the face and then he blames me.
Hold on. I didn't shoot myself in the face. My point was really good.
That bad teams are bad.
No, not why they're bad. Why are they bad? Oh, because our quarterback sucks. No, because every little part of it, nobody cares. Nobody pulls together.
And now the head coach is blaming the players.
See? Bad teams.
Doubling down.
Samson, your thoughts, though, on bad teams, like what makes them bad? Because what I'm saying about the Wizards, there are any number of bad teams in the NBA.
We brought in our expert on bad teams.
Thank you, Chris.
For real expertise on what it is to run a bad team, David Sampson of Nothing Personal gives us, it's the perfect place to start. What was it like to be the Wizards those years that it felt like you were the Wizards?
I can tell you that when you put together a bad team, you know you're putting them together as you're doing it. And you get to spring training and you pretend that, hey, screw them, screw all the people who know what they're saying. We can do it together. And the players are all looking at each other and the front office is all looking at each other and saying, we're going to lose $100. We just don't have enough. And a bad team is when you don't have enough good players. It's not about the players not. I mean, what you were saying is funny to me because you should know this. You can have good players that have bad results. You can have bad players that have good results. What makes a bad team is when you have a combination of bad players who don't in any way get a greater sum than just the parts. And that's what I specialized in, is putting players together whose sum was less than the parts.
I would say that more often than not, when you, at least in basketball, I can't speak for baseball, but when I watch a basketball game between a good team and a bad team, I don't see, not that it doesn't happen. There are some nights you did everything right. Guess what? They're just better. But so many possessions, so many games, that's not what's happening. What's happening is you did something dumb and they got a free, easy layup over here. You did something dumb and they got another possession. You did something dumb and you fell asleep and they got a layup over there. And that's it. That's all it is. And the part where, LeBron and Anthony Davis are way better than Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole never even gets a chance to prove itself because you're doing everything wrong that's making the game so incredibly easy for them.
No, I think the existence of when you've got Poole and Kyle as your 1 and 2, going into every game that your 1 and 2 is worse than every other team's 1 and 2. And that's what causes you to try too hard or to take the extra base when it's not there or to try to throw ahead of the runner instead of to where you're supposed to throw it to and stop a runner from getting in scoring position. You do these things because you're pressing, because you have a talent gap.
Is that how you felt when you had Tom Kohler as your number 2?
Tom Kohler was really a bulldog. If you look back at him, actually, I don't want to
innings eater. He'll give you a 5 ERA. You'll keep throwing him out there. He won't get hurt, and he'll give you. He'll just give up 5 runs in 6 innings, and and you'll lose all those games.
Tom Kohler was 8 years away from making $18 million a year for what he provided. So you can yuck on Tom Kohler's yum all you want, but we loved having him in the rotation, and we loved when we gave him the ball because he was going to give us a chance to win, because he was going to rest our bullpen, which was going to be helpful for games going forward. And the offense knew that if they put up runs, which we would have a hard time doing, that Kohler would be able to do a shutdown inning, which is important. So don't hate on Tom Kohler.
The Braves
That's just wrong.
The Braves also enjoyed him being in your rotation.
5-10 with a 4.41 ERA in 2013 when the Marlins won 62 total games.
Well, we lost 100 that year, Jeremy.
Yep, that's right. Because
everybody
was the number 2 starter. Him, Jacob Turner, Ricky Nolasco, Nathan Eovaldi.
He's got to hang
I'm
tough.
Some of those
far
guys
more
were good.
embarrassed that Mark Hendrickson was an opening day pitcher.
There we go. That's a good one.
That's the biggest
Now you're playing the
embarrassment
game.
in my career.
You're playing it better,
Thank
not
you, David.
surprisingly, than Chris Cody, but you did understand that Chris Cody was just trying to, and succeeded, say a funny name. Like, he was just looking through all of those rosters and trying to find one, and then he conjured a shape when he said that funny name. And all of us thought to ourselves here, who knew who he was talking about, oh yeah, that square that David Sampson, like physical square, would throw out there for 6 innings because David Sampson needed an employee to go out there and throw 6 innings so they could get to losing their 100 games. Somebody go out there every 5th day, cash this check and earn it, because I need someone to spend 5 innings out there. That's the math you were doing with your business then, was it not? Like, you admire this man because he was a good employee.
That's a noble pursuit, what you're describing. It's not as easy as you may think to find 9 innings times 162 games to find anyone to pitch. No, but Tom Kohler wasn't that. He was a huge winner in the minor leagues. When we called him up, he just found a way to win games.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
I understand it now. This is why you want to start with that topic, so that David would have some expertise.
Hendrickson was the worst. What's the second worst when you do those lists of things that you guys did when you're like, oh my God, we're going to be bad?
Well, it was not great having Chen as our opening day starter because we were trying to salvage him and he was overpaid. But no, I think that the problem we had when Hendrickson started for us, you remember he was in the NBA, do you remember him in the NBA?
Wrong sport.
He was like 6'9", yeah.
He may have been I think he was the tallest player I ever had. He was definitely, maybe I'm wrong.
Taller than Volstad? Wasn't Volstad?
I thought, wasn't Hendrickson like 6'10"? Do I have this wrong?
Summer league guy.
I thought he was a basketball player.
He was 6'9", 240.
Yeah, I had him as high. Volstad was
6'8".
tall. Sean West was tall. Andrew Miller was tall. He was maybe a 6'7" lefty. So we had a bunch of tall guys. But no, there's no correlation. And the thing is, when Hendrickson's out there, he's so tall, you think it's going to be good. And then he comes out throwing, 88. And you realize, wow, this is not going to work. I remember that opening day. And when we were scheduling, your opening day starter the first week of spring training, but you don't tell anyone. So you can make this big PR announcement. And we knew that Hendrickson was going to start opening day. So we didn't want to announce it. We were hoping for an injury of some sort or some God's work that would make the announcement land better. So I remember we worked with our PR guy saying, all right, when do we want to slip this in like Jerry Jones introducing Schottenheimer? How can we get it out there that we are absolutely going to lose 100 games? And it didn't work.
John Roush was 6'11".
Oh,
he was a tall guy.
Good call. When we talk tall people, I want to show you guys a picture here when I'm talking about the proportion of these things, because I don't think most people think, listening to this, that Steve Kerr is big. He's tall. Steve Kerr is 6'4". If you think of him as a player, you might not think of him as that tall. But this picture right here, I very infrequently feel small around people. That's Mike Miller, a shooter, and Udonis Haslem, an undersized power forward. When you say these people are tall, David, you're perpetually feeling like that, are you not?
Well, I'm used to that. So yes, I'm only 65 inches. So I definitely, there are pictures of me all over when I'm talking to players or talking to a Stanton, and it makes you feel even smaller. So I would do a lot of my meetings with players where I would stand on the top step of the dugout when a player was in the dugout, trying to change the power dynamic, because I always felt that if they're looking down at me too much in a negotiation or when we're talking about what their role is going to be, that they'll get distracted by that power play. So I would try, and to this day I do that. I try to do as much sitting down as possible, because everyone, when you're sitting down, generally, if you lift your chair up, I do this with Skipper, Dan. When we record with Skipper, I put my chair way up so it looks like my head is on the same level as Skipper. And sometimes he notices it when we're recording a show and he gets pissed off. And he'll say, put your chair down, or he'll try to raise his chair to get that dynamic back.
I will not be below you.
Exactly.
My flat screen's bigger than you.
How many months old are you?
I don't even understand what that means.
Well, you just said how many inches you were, and so
when you're 5'5", you generally say 65 inches.
Do you?
You're 5'5".
Does anyone say they're 5'5"?
Yeah, I do, and I think I'm taller than you.
I'm 5'5".
I don't mean to shame you here. It's funny that you would take that into consideration when, it also seems kind of torturous, a thing to have to take into consideration to how do I figure out how to stand, how to have this conversation with Stanton near the dugout steps so that I could be on the top one.
It's the same thing. You have to worry about hitting your head on a ledge when you're walking through on a small door. I don't have to think about those things. I don't hit my head on rafters. So we each have our cross to bear.
I have David racing to the top step like Costanza when he wanted to sit on one side of the couch. He said, trying to get there real fast.
No, when you're the president of a team, you don't have to do that. As a member of Meadowlark, I do have to do that. There's a lot more racing today than there was in my previous life. But no, I didn't have to race. But there were some photos where it was just patently obvious how small I actually am. But these players, many of them are just big. And in the NBA, it's a totally different story. You talk about Steve Kerr at 6'4". You go to an airport and have Steve Kerr just walk. I was at an airport with Mark Jackson, and he was just walking, and he was a head taller than anybody else in the airport. And he is known as not a big guy in the NBA. So it's a different world in the NBA.
Did you ever have to hit the red button on a team photo taken that showed the height disparity?
I sat down in the front row of our team photos. So I was sitting down, whereas players are standing behind me. The coaches and the front office sits down on chairs in the front. So that was never an issue.
Did you make sure a short player stood behind you?
No, it didn't matter, actually. Players were assigned spots in the team photo, and we would do things where if a player didn't show up for a team photo, we'd have a stand-in, and we would just then plant the face on the body of the stand-in to make it as though the player was there for the team photo. And that's actually a funny story. If you take the team photo too late in September, you got a bunch of scrubs on the team that you've called up who make your team photo and then are forever in the history of who your team is. So we would try to plan the team photo when we had like our best team around to be in the photo so we could lock in that great team. It's so silly to look back on.
When Stanton missed, did you have to get a Stanton stand-in?
No, he never missed. He never missed.
No Stan.
He was at every team photo, and Stan was great to have as a player. He was Mike and then Giancarlo, and he was always around. So
was there anybody who is consistently using their size to feel like they were bullying you, where you're feeling off of them that they're trying to do something here, and I don't like it?
The best example where someone talked about size in a way that I didn't love, but we were close, was Logan Morrison. And Logan would only have, I don't know if you know that name, but he was a Marlin. Once upon a time.
He's like the first athlete to be good at Twitter.
Yes, you unretired the late Carl Barger's number to give it to him in a great offense
That wasn't
against
me. That was not me.
I have never
Don't
seen
even
David
talk about
that upset at an accusation ever.
It wasn't him. That's my fault. But that happened around. It
happened when I was team president, and that was one of those things that our owner did that I couldn't believe because Logan wanted that number. That was his number. And Logan had just lost a parent, I believe his dad, and we had flown to the funeral, and we were trying to be nice. And Logan said, by the way, I wouldn't mind being 5 as we were entering the new ballpark. And so the decision was made by the owner. All right, we're going to put Barger in a plaque and put 5 up because he wasn't a player. And that's just wrong. And I said it, and I got overruled. I asked Logan to change his mind, and he wouldn't. Logan was the guy who only liked to talk to me standing up on a level ground. And so he always had that sort of height over me.
Racing to the ledge. And
he's a big guy. And, we showed him.
But what was he trying to bully you with, though? Like, when was it so tense that you would feel some of what it is you're talking about?
If we're talking about his salary, if we're talking about negotiating sort of where we see him on the team, where we don't see him as he's approaching making money, if there's something going on with team rules that he wasn't happy with. When I was talking to him about Twitter back in the day, and I was very public on your show, Dan, I would talk about our current player who is using Twitter, and we told him stop using it because no one cares if you tweet from the minor leagues. And he told me that I'm wrong. Twitter is going to be the thing, the vessel for players to get their point of view out because you don't do it as a front office. And I was dead wrong. And it turns out that Logan was totally right, but he did it in a very physically daunting, scary way.
Take us through some of that here, because you're at the precipice really of where it is. Some of this is broken down. I want to talk about NIL with you and Amin in a second, but the player having his own agency or her own agency and being able to tell their own story. Logan Morrison was one of the first athletes to be popular on Twitter. Your feeling as an executive was to create the Showtime series that about the franchise, about your team, because you wanted a kind of an attention, but you wanted an attention that was specific to your controlling it. Logan was saying, no, I get to control it. And you started that tense fight.
Yeah, so that is the player empowerment that we talk about in the NBA. I can say a lot of it started with Logan Morrison, where he basically said that he doesn't want me speaking for him. He doesn't need to be PR'd or to be media trained because he was communicating with people who he thought would increase his brand and give him an opportunity to make more money through sponsorship, through relationships, whatever the case may be. And I explained that no one cares about you, actually. They only care that you are a professional baseball player. So please try to focus on playing better. And he told me, you're missing the point. There's an entire industry here that is not really related to talent or to performance.
Jesus. Did he use those words?
Which words?
There's an entire industry that's not related to talent.
Oh, that was the concept of what we talked about.
That's amazing.
He really understood where this was going way before I did. It reminded me of me not believing that people would ever read a newspaper on the internet, on their computer. I assumed no one would ever do that. They'd want to hold a paper. I've just never been able to truly see into the future in that way, in terms of technology or personally. But the fact is that I've spoken to Logan since, and we're still in touch. And we still talk about the fact that he was the start of this amazing thing where players, you described it as taking agency. He would describe it as, I want to control all the news around me and how I look and how I sound, and I'm going to monetize that.
It's kind of like Kevin Love with all his Instagram posts right now, right?
You know what? I'm going to have to stop everybody right here because he mentioned Lomo's dad's funeral, and that opens the door to America's fastest growing game. Would you attend their funeral?
That's your segue?
I'll just say this about Logan's dad's funeral. Were he not a player currently on the team who we needed to perform better, I would not have gone to that.
Probably didn't have to say that part.
Would you attend the funeral of Tommy Hutton?
No.
Oh no! Oh no! How many years?
I like Tommy just fine. He wanted too much money, which is why he lost his job with Fox at the time. But no, I like him fine. Had plenty of contact with him, but not funeral worthy.
Oh no! He's back on the broadcast. How many years was he a broadcaster for you?
Oh, practically my whole time.
Oh no! Dave Van Horn.
If I'm in Florida doing your show and it's after 1 p.m. And I can get a ride so I don't have to drive, I would go.
I'm up, and away.
Really? Fake Dave Van Horn from heaven. Is that right?
Doing his own call.
Really? I didn't have you doing that. So that was Dave Van Horn. Well, he was just ascending to heaven, and that was his voice fading away as he left for the press box in the sky.
I'm up, and away.
It's not your best one, Chris.
Joe Girardi.
Absolutely not.
Josh Beckett.
Yes, I probably would. Josh Beckett's a funny one. He's loving retirement. He's fishing. He's got a bunch of kids now. He's living his life, and we talk every October 25th. So we talk once a year on the anniversary of his Game 6 performance. And you can't call that person a friend, but obviously we have a connection. And we haven't talked about his funeral, though we both suspect that it's coming soon for both of us. But I think I would have to.
What's that yearly text look like? Like, hey, still love you, big game, Josh. Like, what?
It's a check-in text, and then sometimes it segues into a phone call where we'll catch up. But it's just sort of acknowledgement that we shared something, and we mark it on that anniversary. And to him, it was no matter what he did with the Red Sox, October 25th of 2003 was the number one moment of a career for both of us. And so it's fun to talk to him about it.
We're not just going to steamroll past this. Did you just say you and Josh Beckett acknowledge that you're both not going to live that much longer?
We do talk about that quite a bit, actually.
What's happening? What's happening?
When are you dying?
It's based on age. It's based on stress. It's based on just because you're rich and retired at a young age doesn't mean you don't have stress and anxiety. And it doesn't matter if you go fishing all the time. It still can impact you. And both of us have this weird sort of view that it could be the 8th inning and we're going to take the ball for the 9th. But I've always lived my life that way. I've always assumed that, a week from Tuesday will be it for me.
I can't tell you guys how much I love talking about death to this music. Put her on the poll here, Guillermo, please. Was Logan Morrison responsible for all player empowerment in the NBA? Would you attend the funeral? And I know what he's doing there because this one's super interesting to me. When he thinks about it on Josh Beckett, it's not even his relationship with Josh Beckett. It's, man, it would be really fun to catch up with those people at that funeral to remember that the best time of our lives. Like, I could go through that roster and probably get 10 guys that he'll go to those funerals.
At Josh's funeral, he'll be there, but he's not going to be very chatty.
Well, but the others, the teammates who will be there. Thank you, Billy. I do appreciate that Josh Beckett would not be speaking chattily from the coffin.
Because he's up, and away.
Lenny Harris.
No.
Wow. Firm. I'm sorry, Lenny. Ken Rosenthal.
I'm probably going to be dead before Ken, so I don't have to make that decision. But if I did, I probably would say no. Jason Stark, yes. Ken Rosenthal, no.
I was just going to ask you about Jason Stark, and you took it from me. Bud Selig.
That one we've talked about. Yes, I will be going to the commissioner's funeral.
It's a setup, though. Rob Manfred.
Yes.
You go to any of these just to make sure they're not coming back?
No, I go to them because I want to honor. So I'm a big fan of honoring people more when they're alive and what you do for people when they're alive versus what you do. I think going to a funeral is less important than going to a birthday party or being in touch with people when they're alive. But there's some people that I just want to show my respect for. And also there's a part of this that, I'm sort of important that I can go or I would go to these funerals. So I do get ego out of it. I can't believe I'm admitting this on the air, but I do think about that. Like, I can go to that funeral and I won't be an outcast at that funeral because I have a relationship with these people. That's a horrible thing. Can you edit that out, actually?
Okay.
Cut out the live
get
portion.
right. Yes, please. End the live portion of our show. Just edit that out. We've gone too far. David, before you get out of here, it's a great game. We need to play it.
Yes, it is a great game. We need to play it more often. But before we get him out of here, I do want to ask him about A Different Man, which is the Sebastian Stan movie. What'd you think of it?
Sebastian Stan was nominated for The Apprentice, and he was really good in The Apprentice, but he was way better in A Different Man, which is sort of the updated version of an old movie with Eric Stoltz and Cher called Mask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a deformed person, and it's played by a real deformed actor. He really has that issue. And it is unbelievable the way we react to people with physical deformities. And it's horribly sad and incredibly hurtful. And we all do it. And we pretend we don't, but we do. And Sebastian Stan goes from deformed to not deformed and realizes that life may be better deformed. And that is an amazing sort of concept.
Is that the correct word? Because this movie, it did capture my eye because it did look like the Mask, the Cher movie that you're talking about, right? Where the head and face of someone is something that anybody would look at, and it doesn't look right. Is deformed the proper way to say that?
You're putting me on the spot, so I assume you have the answer to that.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. The reason I'm asking the question, though, is because when I was watching that movie, I thought that movie took some real great chances there, and I thought that movie was interesting in what it is that they were trying to tackle.
I thought it was fascinating because Stan's character starts the movie with NF1, which is the name of the condition, and then gets cured of it, and then, like David said, at some point, I don't even know if he realizes life is better. It's that he sees someone else with NF1 living the type of life that he could have never imagined for himself when he had that condition. And so it drives him into this kind of insanity.
So is that the word? Is it condition? Is that what we're going with?
I don't know. I didn't mean to get stuck there. I just wanted to explain the audience because when you said deformity, you didn't make it clear that it was the head, that it was the face.
Yeah, excuse me. Well, when I said mask, I assume people knew or at least would Google what that meant. But yes, it is from the neck up. It is a physical deformity is how I would describe it. But it doesn't change the way the person is. It's like screaming at a blind person thinking that they don't hear properly. It is weird how people interact with people with physical disabilities. I see it with people in wheelchairs, and I do a lot of work with people, with athletes who are have paralysis or loss of limbs. And it is just weird how people interact as though they have some sort of mental issue when in fact they don't at all. It's just a physical issue. And Sebastian Stan played it so well that frankly, I mean, I was so happy he was nominated, period, for 2 great performances this year, but I would have preferred it for Different Man.
David, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it. The name of the movie is the podcast is Nothing Personal. David, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What was that? What? You're
stumbling over a photo that's put up without anyone giving you warning that you're going to see Sebastian Stan and the actor who played the person with the condition who really has that condition, and you're fumbling trying to outboard me while this video photo's up.
Okay, so yes, that is what happened. It was the proper thing to laugh at. In Lewis's meager defense, he did say that the photo was jarring, and so he was trying to make an executive decision, and he made a poor one because he started startled me, and I wasn't able to get you out of here. So thank you, David. I appreciate I appreciate the time. Nothing Personal is the name of the podcast. The Sporting Class, I'm telling you, that he does with John Skipper, and they fight for who's got the higher chair. It is unlike anything. Never mind business, not just business, sports business, any kind of business. There's not this kind of expertise talking this way about those things. Thank you, David. So I wanted to ask the group because Amin clearly has a feeling about this movie, and I watched it the other night with Valerie. And obviously, you love any art that I love any art that makes me think a little bit about something that I had not considered. And so when Lewis said the photo is jarring, it is jarring. The entire movie is wildly transportive. Like, it takes you to a place that you might not have considered at all before, with someone trying to live a normal life with something that, if all of us were looking at it, we'd be saying, if that happened to me, how is it that I would go through life? Could I be happy? Could I be myself? Could I be somebody that was normal instead of sullen? Because I can change my life's energies just by having a different attitude, no matter how I look.
Did you know what the movie was about before you started watching it?
I did not.
Me neither. That I think made it even better, is just not knowing where's this going. I thought it was is this like The Elephant Man? That's what I thought the movie was. And then he gets, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but as that transformation happens from like, oh, he really can cure it, I guess. And then realizing, oh, this is not about what he looks like. It's all about the person that was inside all along.
I don't believe that the room has any interest.
I've been thinking. I think Tyreek might regret having left Kansas City.
I want to ask you guys something else about a negotiation that's coming up. I think this one will interest people. Get me the sound, please, for when people don't want me to talk about sports media stuff, because I think this particular one is something that people might be finding interesting in what is about to be the golden age of the streaming services. Are just going to fire hose money at certain personalities because of Netflix having one of its greatest periods ever now that they've just dipped a toe in sports.
Do you get annoyed every time Dan Le Batard pontificates about the sports media industry? Well, too bad, He knows you don't give a damn about what he's gonna say. It's time for Sports Media Talk today.
I think Amin's going to find this one interesting, okay? Because if Tom Brady is worth $375 million to do a job part-time over here, and if Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee and everybody tries to change, and the Kelseys try to change the economy of how many millions per year can you make doing this, I don't think in my entire lifetime covering sports I have seen someone have more power from a broadcasting perspective than what Charles Barkley heads into here, getting to decide whether he wants to work for ESPN, because he got traded, and Charles Barkley has all the power over everybody because Amazon and everybody's going to be bidding on Charles Barkley, not the entirety of the show. So he's in the position where he holds all the cards in a negotiation to work as much or as little as he wants, when it's the golden age of we're going to pay tens of millions of dollars for this. Because if Barkley's at $20 million a year now, and I understand the stratosphere is ridiculous, but he's going to have all of these giant entities saying, we want just you. You're your own network. It's not even just your show. We want just you, because having you brings us whatever Tom Brady's bringing you, because you've attached this particular name to what you do. And I just can't believe that's so with a man in his 60s. I really can't.
In fairness, his CNN show got canceled in like 5 minutes. So, it's not like he's going places and everything he does is a giant success.
Understood, but when you have everyone bidding for you and sports money is spilling all over the place at $20 million a year, there is nobody worth more, wanted by more people than this person. You can say that, but everyone's going to be in the game trying to say they're the ones who have Charles Barkley.
Yeah, but people make bad media deals like all the time. And Charles also pretends he's going to retire every year.
So I ask you guys, do you think that this is a situation where you can find me a negotiation that someone headed into where he had more power, more in sports?
Leverage? I would say that whatever Stephen A. Smith's next deal is, that he's going to have the maximum leverage.
Bigger than Barkley.
Bigger than Barkley. Because the network has demonstrated, right? Like with Barkley, at the end of the day, it's a show. Billy's right. Like, yeah, they gave him a CNN show. They gave him, like, at the end of the day, we're talking about one show, and Chuck has made it clear. He said, quote, I won't be working like no damn dog, right? So Chuck is like, we're going to do it on my time, doing what I want to do. So you're kind of like, okay, cool, but understanding it's not going to spill over into anything else. Whereas Stephen A., you can ask Stephen A., Wimbledon's coming up. We don't have anybody. He's like, I'll do it. He'll say yes to everything. And he'll go and he'll fly over to England and he'll pretend like he knows every single player and have strong opinions and bring attention to it. And that has real currency for any media company, but especially that place where they have zero creativity or idea of like, you know what? I'm going to give a chance to this person here.
Into its neck and causing a fairly quick death by severing the spine. T. Higgins is gone for 75 yards. Then the Bengal would devour the ram. Unless that ram was Cooper. You and only you can spark a battle cry. The Rams, victory was sealed on strength of your divine champions. Stafford hangs back, looks off the corner, over the middle, a no-look pass. The fans are up for Cooper. McVay keeps calling his number. The penalty flags rain towards ground. Everyone in the building knows where it's going. Stafford to Cup in the end zone. Oh, the joy and elation of the moment. The polarizing quarterback and the Big Sky Conference product answered the bell. One of the game's historic moments. Nothing stops the NFL. Nothing stops the NFL. Nothing stops the NFL. Nothing stops the NFL. One play at a time, boys. One play at a time. Winning isn't everything. It's the There's nothing like the NFL.
All right, guys, I'm really excited about this. I've just been listening to the Hamilton soundtrack my entire drive over here. A little bit of Another Day of Sun, because Jess and I have been talking about singing that together. Super excited to be part of this.
Hey, Izzy. JT, that's my friend Izzy from ESPN.
Nice to meet you, man.
Hey, guys.
Izzy Gutierrez around the horn. What are you doing here?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, I understand I don't really work for you guys, but I heard you guys were doing this, and it really means a lot to me. You know, representation matters. I know that's not necessarily something that really counts in your shipping container, or is really accounted for in your shipping container. So once I heard you guys were doing a big game musical, I had to be a part of it.
Doing what?
The big gay musical. No, I figured I heard about it in Greg Cody's column, or
No, it's the Big Game musical. The
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I do want to play the game of people in sports who look like they would just dominate a Renaissance festival. I do want to play that game here.
In honor of Nick?
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's walking around with a turkey leg for sure.
What about new Jags coach Liam Cohen?
Yeah.
I think he would crush one.
Yes.
Super eager.
What about Chris Cody?
Oh,
That's
excellent.
not terrible.
That's good.
Good.
Not terrible.
That is the voice, disembodied voice of Nick Wright. I will say before he came on, I don't like what's happening, not on this show and not in America, to Nick Wright. Somebody I admire his gift. I admire his grift. He is somebody who is really doing this job well. And when he sat down, you spit.
Yes.
Sad room. And then said of Nick Wright, you said punchable face.
Well, he does.
Punchable face.
Right, he has one.
And I think this is happening now to you, Nick, and I think you enjoy it, but I think it's dangerous where you have my producers in the other room, people who should not have opinions about these things, are listening to you talk about the Chiefs, and they're getting very mad at who you are.
Yeah, losers and whiners. Sorry, guys. I mean, and you said sad room. We're doing a renovation here, pal.
Right.
I apologize.
Okay.
We're getting it all together, and I have to, I'm trying to be ready for these media appearances, but I also, work smarter, not harder. Do we want to fill up the wall when obviously in 10 days we're going to have more Champs newspapers to hang? So let's leave the space empty,
Right.
and so we can prepare for that. So here's the deal. Everyone's been wrong. I've been right. And now they're whiny babies calling the manager saying, it's unfair, guys. And they should be mortified. And Dan, as someone who cares about the health of sports media, you should carry this torch with me, because we are all being led down this path. Once upon a time, we were the tastemakers. We dictated the conversation. Now, disembodied fake people like Dove Kleiman and ML Football dictate the conversation, and lazy charlatans with 7-figure jobs are like, well, the internet's talking about it. It must be the story. And so instead of recognizing we are watching the greatest run by the greatest team in the greatest league in the history of professional football, we are talking about Clete Blakeman. We are talking about Will Anderson. We knew it. Man, I'm old enough to remember crying about the refs after the game was loser behavior, not universally applauded. Someone finally said it. And here's the other thing. Brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. Gambling's legal now, America. If the games are rigged, I hope you've made a fortune, because all the idiots, this is their Twitter timeline. It's rigged for ratings. I'll never watch again. It's rigged for the Chiefs. Can't wait till the Eagles beat them. Those seem like contradictory thoughts to me.
I love your rage. I love your passion. I also find it really amusing that you would fight the internet on sports debate has gotten kind of cruel, and we eviscerate people when they're the third best instead of the best. And what you've got is the best, and people are discrediting the best, and the emotional fan in you is pissed off on behalf of, this is the culture you created, Nick.
I created.
You were in the middle of it, and you're responsible for elevating the flames on this entire game.
Oh, okay. Nonsense. So here's nonsense. Listen. I'm not a crusher. I am an elevator. You said for years, what was the thing I was known for? I didn't say somebody sucked. I said somebody's the greatest. My hottest take ever that I was known for is this guy's awesome.
Well,
and somehow that was controversial.
Well, but Stugotz, do you know what that is?
He's not doing it well.
But do you know what that take is, Stugotz? Because Stugotz would fall on the other side of this, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but Nick Wright thinks LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan.
He's wrong.
Okay. Yeah, listen, no, I get it. I understand that there is some nostalgia and some sentimentality involved in Michael Jordan, and it's never going to move. I get it. I don't even actually care to have that argument because that argument has been won and the cement is dry on it and people are going to look back and be like, I can't believe that was a debate. That's not even the point I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make is this. I do think sports media actually, Dan, we have overcorrected, okay? So once upon a time, back in the day, before my time, before talk sports and stuff, it was just columnists. Some of that stuff was outright cruel. And guys were really eviscerated. They were either heroes or the worst villains. I don't need to give you a history lesson of all people. You know the history of sports media. And then my generation, the millennials, got a foothold. And it was, hey, let's add some nuance. Hey, quarterback wins. That's not really a thing. Let's be smarter. And that was all really good. And now we've gone too far. And now Justin Herbert can throw more interceptions in a playoff game than he did all season. And before any takes have been given, it is preemptive, premature defending of takes that haven't even happened. Whoa, let's not kill Justin Herbert. Lamar Jackson can win more MVPs than if Aaron Rodgers retires. Everyone else active in the NFL combined, and he can have 2 turnovers in the first half, and people will be like, guys, he came really close, though. He did. He came close. Josh Allen, 2 years in a row, can have the ball in his hands, down 3, with Mahomes on the sideline, nothing he can do, and those 2 years come away with 0 total points. And the first take topic is, do you feel bad for him? Guys, here's the deal. Everyone's always understood it. Almost every little boy in America growing up wanted to be a pro athlete one day. You know why? Dope job, super rich, women or people love you, fame, fortune, a lot of time off. One of the only downsides. You fail on the biggest stage, you're going to get criticized a bit more than the guy who's doing your taxes or working at UPS. Everyone understood it. Now the expectation is, can't we just appreciate they're all doing their best? Can't we? We got Orlovsky is so comfortable criticizing people in his current profession, sports media, and would never dare criticize people in his previous profession, NFL quarterbacks. We've gone too far. So if I have to add some balance to the universe, so be it.
That is such a great point on Orlovsky I hadn't considered.
Wait, but is Nick taking credit for nuance? I mean,
I just gave him credit for all hot takery. I just gave him credit for all of it, for being.
You want to stay on the Orlovsky point? I'm okay with it.
Yes.
Everyone likes Dan. I'm sure he's nice. But hey, man, keep that same it's so amazing. There's so much courage to criticize folks who do what he currently does. And such is said to Shannon on television. It's not my job to criticize a quarterback who is better than me. Huh? Really? Well, then I hope you have a lot of Will Levis topics coming because
what he's saying there, I had not noticed. And now that he mentions it, isn't very surprising because, of course, the athletes would come into the media space and then all of a sudden start bullying the media. Of course, Orlovsky is very popular. His information is very good, but
he's sharp. And everyone that I know that I don't know him, and everyone that I know that knows him adores him. He's a great dude. And the little snippets we get of his family life, he really seems like an awesome father and husband, great guy. There is to me if you're just going to be Mr. Positivity about everything, and I'm not saying that's Dan necessarily, so be it. But there is to me a hypocrisy of, there are some sacred cows here, but I will, but not that I'll stay away from. That's all. And as the kids say on Twitter, the noticers are noticing. And maybe I'm just noticing.
Well, one of the things I admire about you is I don't believe you have any sacred cows in this business. You're about telling people whatever it is that you think, and you're not too concerned with how any of that lands. You right now are enjoying the sports moment of a lifetime, right? That you have this team being this dominant, and you're insisting from coast to coast that people respect it properly while they're not. While the standard birthed of we criticize everything, we blame everything is very gentle to Josh Allen, and now America's rooting against your team.
Yeah, and so listen, the thing you said on the front end, it is. I could not be more blessed than to be a kid from Kansas City who somebody asked me yesterday, do I miss doing talk radio in Kansas City? And I said, in a kind of maybe more vulnerable than I should have been, I was like, well, I maybe have never been as happy as I was when I was doing talk radio in my hometown a dozen years ago, or at this point, 15 years ago, I guess. But the blessing of what the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have given me personally is they have allowed essentially me to pursue my highest career ambitions while still just doing a local Kansas City talk show. Because I don't know if you watch a lot of First Things First, but there's a lot of Chiefs talk on it because they're the team. And so that is a huge blessing. The fact that before last season, I get the never a doubt tattoo, and then Patrick Mahomes, who almost never tweets, 60 minutes after winning Super Bowl MVP, sends his first tweet of the playoffs, and it's 3 words, never a doubt, with him holding the trophies. Yeah, that's one of the dopest things that could happen in a sports movie, much less in real life. And so I should be happier about those things. I am frustrated because the only thing this compares to, in my opinion, as far as this level of dominance over a 7-year stretch, is the Bulls in the 90s. And not only were the Bulls in the 90s universally beloved, they are retroactively still a sacred beloved. They are, you mention it to Stugotz, and he gets, even though he's a Knicks fan, his eyes well up with emotion thinking about Bob Costas and John Tesh in the good old days.
Yep.
I mean too.
It was an honor to lose to that team. It was.
Yeah. And so, right. And now we are getting it in a sport where it shouldn't be able to exist. Single elimination, salary cap, all of it. And over the course of the year, it was a denial that was frustrating to me. And then the moment it became undeniable, it was a rigged game. And there are a lot of uncomfortable equivalent or similarities to the run-up to the 2020 presidential election. This guy has no chance. This guy is inept. This guy can't win. This is going to be a rout. I lost. It's rigged. And that's what I heard all year with the Chiefs. Fraudulent team. Getting lucky. Too many one-score games. Can't score more than 30. Can't blow anyone out. Rigged. Okay. Fine. You're just wrong.
Nick, I want to ask you, Mahomes, even though, you're saying people are accusing of being rigged or the rest are in the tank for him, I think the general consensus around Mahomes is excellent and damn it, I hate that he wins all the time, right? Would you agree that to the opposition? They don't say he's not that good. They say
yes, about him specific. Yes, him specifically. Absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so it reminds me of a lot of what people said about Jordan and a lot of what people said about Brady. But as try as I might to remember, I don't remember anyone saying that about LeBron. So my question to you isn't whether LeBron is or isn't. That's to me that can't be answered. But why is that? Why do you think LeBron never got that kind of fear/respect among the masses that those 3 names elicit?
Oh, well, I think that there was something that LeBron was working against as far as from the masses, that neither Brady nor Jordan had to work against, which is two diehard fan bases who were deeply invested in him not being considered as great as he was. Because you had Jordan fans and Kobe fans who it was a part of their individual identity that needed LeBron to not be LeBron. I don't think there was that I don't think Bird and Magic fans, I think they looked at it not like different eras, but like we had the 80s, this guy's having the 90s, and it was, to me, so universally accepted in the 90s. I mean, the guy, one of the reasons I hate the count the rings stuff is Jordan retired after 3, and they put on the statue, the greatest there ever was, the greatest there ever will be. You know, but if 30 years ago, people were like, I don't care that Magic has 2 more rings and Russell has 8 more. This guy, and Kareem's got 3 more. This guy's better. And they were able to do that. Brady was able to be a juggernaut underdog, which is what made him so unique. And the other thing with Brady was that people have kind of changed, like forgotten. Brady Manning was a legitimate and fair debate for 15 years. People say, oh my God, you know, Patrick's doing to Josh what Tom did to Peyton. That's not true. Tom Brady beat Peyton Manning in the playoffs twice ever, and then lost their final 3 matchups. Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady in the playoffs is 3-2 Peyton. So the way that story went was, man, this kid is clutch. The defense is amazing. What a winner from 01 to 04. Then a decade of not winning, of coming close but not winning. Peyton finally got over the hump. Peyton finally got to another Super Bowl. Peyton goes to Denver, clips the Patriots in the playoffs. It's like, oh my goodness, this is flipping again back towards Peyton. And then there is the second Patriots run, 14, 16, 18. And then the cementing moment, Tom in 20 beating Patrick. And now he is 7. And now it's like, oh, he was always the greatest. So those were very different stories than the one Patrick is having right now.
I just imagine you've been talking like that for 4 straight days.
It's like an asylum.
It doesn't matter.
I feel like I'm in a prison.
Jesus Christ.
It's just
What are you
Chiefs,
talking about?
Chiefs talk, Chiefs talk. He's got every Chiefs opinion. He's
Peyton
right
Manning
about everything.
somehow.
You're all wrong.
No one asked you.
The
You just
Chiefs-
haven't stopped talking. in
Buy a
like
ring
20
light
minutes.
already so we
Terrible
can see you.
acoustics. Some sound
Buy a
effects.
ring light.
I'm kind of impressed by it.
Install lights.
Our audience, like 6 minutes ago, is like, "Oh my
my
God, it's a
cave.
speed bag to the face of
I almost
Chiefs
fell
talk."
asleep twice.
Echo.
Okay, I forgot to turn the light on. You could have told me beforehand, first of all.
Well,
There
now
you
it's
go.
an even more punchable face, and you know that you're leaning into all of this stuff. You're fighting America. You're enjoying the holy hell out of just the unbelievable stupidity of.
Did the Notre Dame fan say she almost fell asleep?
Yes.
Hold on a second here. Why? That was compelling.
So compelling. You
As
are
long
the
as you think
reason
it,
that
Nick.
people are saying the Chiefs dynasty is more annoying than the Patriots dynasty because they've just been listening to you do that rambling bit all season long, and
Rambling?
they're sick of it. They're sick of
Fact-laden.
it. Also, no
I'm
one's
out here dropping
no one's
Peyton
making
Manning,
you guys
Tom
talk
Brady
about what the
playoff
internet
history.
trolls are talking. You can ignore the internet trolls that are setting the quote-unquote internet discourse about all this cheating.
I can.
and
Can I
conspiracy
ignore
theories.
Adam Schefter and everyone else in the mainstream media?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
You just talk about this. Just talk about this for your whole show. You're probably doing it anyways.
Okay. All right. Jessica, I've always liked you from afar, but our relationship's now on the rocks. I always thought you were a really excellent addition to this team. I don't know why you're coming after me. I picked your stupid team to win the national championship, lost $2,600. Those frauds.
Who told
How
you
about
to
you don't
do
have
that?
a 17 play
Why would
drive
you do?
and
They
then
were like
use
8.5
everything else?
point underdogs. Why would you?
Yeah,
do
I
that?
know. Listen, big risk, big reward.
my
That's what I'm
God.
saying. I'm not in these small gains. If I want small gains, I'd buy Nvidia. I guess that's probably a bad one this week. But in general, I'm a gambler. If you were like, oh, cash out, hedge your bets. I'm a god dog gambler, man.
Jessica, you speak for the audience. You
Yes.
speak for America.
Speaks for the America. I'm beloved.
Nick, I'm your biggest fan. You do not have a bigger fan of doing everything right now in sports media exactly the right way, and I get genuine joy from getting to watch you live what we lived 2010 through 2014, which is, are you kidding me? The local team is going to be the best thing. Everyone in the country is going to want to fight with it, and I get to do a local sports radio show. You're probably doing your TV show, leaving, and you've got 1,000 other things that you wanted to say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's
I
every
did a
day.
90-minute podcast yesterday, and I didn't get to the Eagles game.
Oh boy.
I mean, yeah. So you're getting
We
the
all
bite-sized
believe you, by the
versions of
way.
it.
Are you okay? I mean,
yeah, I'm okay. Gosh darn it, man. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was ready for a lot of I know the room. I know this crew, obviously. I've always felt deep down Amin probably doesn't like me. That was a nice softball LeBron question he threw at me. I don't blame him for that. It's fine. I've had, Cody knows that he's my second favorite member of the Cody family, and I kind of made fun of him to start. And Mike Ryan's not there to defend me. But Jessica off the top rope for no reason, while I'm out here dropping knowledge, seems unnecessary. Where's Juju? Where's my guy?
I will say that Jessica spoke for Billy. Billy didn't speak up.
Billy.
Billy didn't speak up.
Guess for the Super Bowl right
Billy,
now,
did you
for
agree
being
with
perfectly
what
honest
Jessica
with you.
said, though?
Can I be honest with you, Nick? I like
not
you.
listening.
I like you. You're very
Right.
nice. I met him when we did the live show in New York. He said, "Hi, Billy." He shook my hand. I was like, "How the hell does this guy know who I was?" It was a very pleasant exchange. I don't know what the hell you were talking about.
Well, why
it was
does it-
going
why-
on for a
why
while?
did- why does
You
this-
lost me, and then I was like, I really got to get.
Why
on
does
cooking
this
for next
show
week.
hate fact-laden, entertaining?
That's a great question,
content?
Dan.
See,
We hate long answers.
That's a
Dan.
great question.
Look at your
Why does
allies.
this show hate
Bad
that?
ally.
Okay,
Nick.
you know what?
Bad
You're
allies.
right. You're so right. All of you are
At least
so
Nick
right.
gets the
So
penalty
Nick,
box.
we've got the punchable face.
Yeah,
You also by the way, you're competing against Paul Rudd and the guy from Modern Family,
Stone Street?
Yeah,
Stone
for
Street.
being
My
like the
My friend.
Chiefs fan. Like
My
you're
friend.
already coming at this with a different disadvantage.
Stone Street, my friend. Is that what you just did?
he did.
Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Nick, we're all just
Rob
jealous.
Riggle?
We're all fans of other AFC teams that just keep losing to the Chiefs every year.
Who's
okay?
your AFC team,
I'm a
Jessica?
Steelers fan, and we are so far.
that
We are
sucks.
so far.
God. Oh, and that's another one. Steelers legacy. Hey, at least they have the greatest 6-year stretch.
No
in
one
NFL
is!
football for another 10 days.
Still talking.
About to clip that one too. We're coming for everyone's records. You brought up Jordan. This is really going to stick it to Stugotz. Michael Jordan has been able to own. When you say three-peat, you think of Jordan.
Right.
That's got 10 more days, buddy. That's not going to be his anymore.
Right.
They're coming for everyone's records, everyone's hallowed ground. And you know what? I'm going to go even older school. Where's Greg Cody when you need him? Throw out the curse of the Bambino and the Babe Ruth trade. Nobody cares about this but me. Everyone's like, oh, poor Buffalo. Here's a pro tip, sports fans. Don't trade someone the greatest player ever. The Bills traded the Chiefs Mahomes, and now Mahomes kills them every year, and everyone cries for him. No one cried for the Red Sox in the 20s. Oh, Babe Ruth always beats us. You shouldn't have sold him so you could put on a play. That happened in football. The Bills had Tyrod Taylor and Nate Peterman, and they were like, let's run it back one more year, and they traded the Chiefs Patrick Mahomes. And now Mahomes sends them home every year. That's how sports are supposed to go. Fatal mistakes should be fatal. The right team is winning. And sorry, Bills fans, good people in Western New York, I get it, but you did this to yourselves.
I think of Riley when I think of three-peat. And by the way, Jordan did it not once, but twice. I mean, punt.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Stugotz, that was a fact that I had. I did know he did it twice. Quit in the middle. And is it really a three-peat if you get clipped in the middle by the Magic? But that season doesn't count, but we don't want to talk about that. No.
Why did you give a shout out to the people of Western New York?
Well,
They're great. They're great fans.
The great people. No, he said
Yeah.
the great people.
You have to do that.
Great people of Western New York.
If Greg Cody
I'll
were
be
here,
honest.
he would tell you still don't have a perfect season, though.
Punt.
Say, great. No, he's right. We don't have a perfect season.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
He got your ass.
We're going in order. We're speed running everything. and we've been on some side quests, and we'll get the perfect season at some point. This year they could have done it, and they said, you know what? If we beat Buffalo in the regular season, probably a little harder to beat them in the playoffs. So they sacrificed what would have obviously been a perfect regular season to have a better chance at the three-peat. But in a future year, when they're not going for a historic championship, they'll go for the perfect season. But that'll come. That'll come. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. I don't know if you have more questions.
And I do. I wanted to know if there were any other sacred cows that you wished to go after here before you get out of here. And I wanted to, through Stugotz, I don't know if Stugotz knows this, Nick Wright, because he's enjoying so much being public enemy number one as a Chiefs fan, making arguments on behalf of Chiefs fans. He has
number 3 behind Paul Rudd and Eric Stone.
Right. Is he number 3?
Well, and then if Wriggle's in there,
what
number 4?
What number
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
What number are you?
Hold on. Can I make this something
What
very,
about Taylor
very
Swift?
clear?
That's number 1.
That's
No.
Yeah.
So listen, Wriggle and Rudd and Stone Street, who I adore, again, good friends. Good Kansas Cityans. They're from the Kansas side. That's okay. They are the number one Chiefs. If you say Chiefs fan, Family Feud style, and people are like, who gets the votes? Taylor wins. Number 2 is me.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yep.
No, those guys are more famous than me, but they are not more associated with the Chiefs than me. Brad Pitt's a Chiefs fan. He's more famous than all of them. But again, some of those Family Feud answers would be, I don't know the guy's name. He's got a big nose and a punchable face. The Fonz. But that's me they're talking about. So that's
I'd go a step further though. I'd put you number 1 on voice for the team.
Rasheed Wallace.
Just being able to get like the feeling of regional pride that comes from being a fan on behalf of the team who will then make arguments on behalf of the team.
Are you saying this because we couldn't get the other ones on the show?
I'm promising you that those people don't get to support their team from the same place that Nick Wright gets to support this one.
No, if you're saying that I'm the Baghdad Bob of the Kansas City Chiefs, that's correct, except I'm on the right side of the war. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true.
Doesn't everyone think they're on the right side of the war, though?
Melissa
It's hard to put
Yeah,
your
but
life on the
luckily-
line. If
Why
you
would you
don't
fight on the
think-
wrong
Yeah,
side?
exactly right. Knowingly.
But luckily in sports, Billy, there's an official scorecard, and the people on the right side get to hoist a trophy at the end of it.
Yeah, but when you
it's
revisit
a little
history,
cleaner.
sometimes you realize things weren't as right as we thought they were.
Caitlin
All right,
Clark too.
Billy,
is more
I
famous.
listened to your Billy. You guys. Here's the thing. I listened 6 years ago when you gave a very off the cuff, eloquent Cuban history dissertation on sports radio. I know how erudite and learned you are, but don't come at me about being on the wrong side of this war, because I'm not. I'm not.
He's also very recalcitrant, Nick.
Tech Nine.
We can use big words here too.
I know what that means.
because I said erudite. I was trying to compliment Billy Gill. Jessica, you know what? Dan knows this. I have a media rivals list. You're on it now.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no.
I want the
Jessica,
entire list.
media rival. She
Jessica.
had never been eligible because she's so much younger than me. But I'm now elevating her because this is an outrage.
no.
That's a compliment.
It sure is.
Mina's on
Media
it.
rival.
Pablo, it is. But wait a minute. You just promoted her.
Right.
Clay Thompson.
A huge promotion.
That's a promotion for
Yes.
Jessica. You just rewarded her by making her
Well,
your rival. You're the
Yeah,
one with the
that's-
punchable face.
That's true, but it'll just make her all the more fun to vanquish.
Erudite. Am I on it now? I mean,
No. Listen, Stugotz, you are living like sometimes people live lives, and you're like, man, that path could have been mine. And every time I watch you, I'm like, man, if I just grew up in a different part of the country and suffered a minor head injury, that would have been the life I'm living.
well, thank you, Nick.
No problem.
I'm very happy for you, legitimately. But
Thank you.
the question that I was asking you on the way out, because I don't know how Stugotz feels about this, because he likes and respects our show, do you get hurt at all that he appears to give his Chiefs takes to Dan Patrick first and to Colin Cowherd first, and that we are the bronze medalist on his world tour of Listen to Me Yammer?
Yes, of course I'm upset by it. Nick, remember the people who got you to where it is that you're at right now. Now, you probably think you got there by yourself, but no, this show helped you, okay? This show helped you. We promoted it.
I don't think that's true at all.
We love you, and you got to stay loyal to the show. Nick, you got to stay loyal to this show. This show first.
Stugotz, here's the thing. First of all, no one really, and Dan won't accept it, has any idea how much this show helped me, because I've told this story and I will tell it again. When I was auditioning for FS1 8 years ago, my first time on the air, I made a Cam Newton point oddly about the officials that Dan then referenced and played when you guys were with ESPN. It was remarkable, and I really think that helped me. So no. This show has helped me immensely. However, what Stugotz does not know, because Stugotz, I assume, was in a, somewhat drunken stupor, I did do this show first. I did it during the game. During the game, I came on this show. I broke all of my rules of no tweeting, no media during Chiefs games. And I got to tell you, when 90 minutes after doing the show, the Bills led for the first time all game.
How'd that feel?
I was furious. And I was on tilt, and I was blaming you guys.
Yes.
So I did your show.
I apologize. I just wasn't here.
That's
so,
fine. Fair point. And when you say a blame, though, then should we get credit? Because we're now taking credit for your things. So if you're...
Yeah, you guys... Yeah, of course.
Michael
You guys... Here's a cool idea. Someone in that room, instead of rooting for a losing football teams, root for the team that wins every Super Bowl. No one's going to be like, oh, you were a diehard Dolphins fan. That doesn't exist. No one will blame you. So, yeah, feel free to jump on. Right now's the time, because right now they're so hated. Right now it's a cool pivot to be like, you know what? I like the Chiefs. I think everyone else is a bunch of whiny babies. We invite you, but that invitation expires 6 p.m. a week from Sunday. Because post 3-peat, bandwagon closed.
Okay.
How do we let you know? Do we send you a text?
You
like,
got
what
to
do
make
we do
your
here?
picks. He's put some stakes on these picks. We got to make some picks now. Stugotz has picked against Kansas City the last couple of years. We don't allow him. We've forbidden him from talking about this team around here.
That's why I wasn't there for the game, Nick.
Nick, good seeing you, and congratulations. Thank you for the help. We'll talk to you soon.
Of course. Talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye.
Willie Cauley-Stein.
And if you do want to go to this Super Bowl game, and man, it's going to be a doozy, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. What time is it? I'll answer it myself. It's game time.
Have you guys been thinking about people in sports who look like they would crush it at a Renaissance fair? Have you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen, is it Ren Fair on Max? That it's a confusing show in that at the start I couldn't tell whether they were actors or whether it was just unusual people, as you might find, that were addicted to the Renaissance fair. But we've got a look in mind here. I don't suspect we will have a lot of ethnicities at the Renaissance fair, right? This will be a pink Chris Cody type of experience. They will all look like the new coach of the Jags, Liam Cohen.
Ain't no brothers at the Renaissance fair? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think visually it's all the same game, right? It's all some form of, are you playing the game in the other room? I
think I just won the game. I did. And I don't even have to say it to anyone back here. I said it to myself. I looked at a picture of him. It's him. Creed Humphrey, the center for the Chiefs. I mean, you're not going to beat it. Don't even try. It's
pretty good.
I'm a damn good nomination, but not as good as Creed Humphrey.
Are we going across all sports or just football?
All sports.
We're doing all sports, and I do believe that the type, though, there's a thickness involved with the type.
Right. Some long hair helps, right?
An unkempt beard.
Like Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews is a little aggressive, although he might be jousting over there behind the tomato throws.
Right.
They have to look disheveled.
Does it have to be sports?
Why? What would you like to do? Why would you like? I'm giving you all of sports out as the playground, but you want to go off the board?
I was gonna say Jewel.
Who Who will save your soul? How about Mike Glennon? How about old long-necked Mike Glennon?
How about Enya?
Jewel's great.
The band or just her?
I could
Just the
see
lead
Jewel.
singer?
I couldn't believe before the show, and this has happened the last couple of days, where for some reason I'm leaving Stugotz, and Stugotz is saying that's a good idea, and so whenever Stugotz is saying that, I like to trail where it is that's coming from. I usually catch the back end, and then I hear Billy talking about the idea of not divorces, but trial divorces. Like, obviously there's separations, but more formalized, that there should be a stop between marriage and separation and trial separation and divorce, that there's a stage here.
Trevor Lawrence.
I kind of feel like separations already are a lot more formal than they need to be.
Yeah.
Because, like, on forms, when you fill out forms, it says, are you married, single, divorced, or separated? I'm like, you're asking me if I'm having marital problems? Is that what this question is? Which is so weird. Why does the doctor care? Like, it doesn't matter, right? So,
That's why you're losing your hair.
I think
Stress.
it depends on, like, I think it's also like a.
Whoa.
That's what a hypothetical doctor would say. That's
Right.
not, I didn't
You're
mean
right.
that, like-
Hypothetical person.
You're a
Dr.
good hypothetical
Eberflus,
doctor,
yeah.
yes. Dr. Eberflus.
What's this cough? Dr. Eberflus asks.
You really? Amin was about to get started on something that was going to be legitimately good, and you guys just undercut him by going at his hairline.
I was yes-anding. No, I was playing the game of what the doctor, why the doctor
Role
would do
playing,
that.
Dan.
No,
I mean,
but
that's
you
all.
did you not see what happened? Amin was about to get rolling.
Slinked away.
Amin was about to take flight. Like, he was so excited.
Upset stomach, sore ankle. There's so many headaches, migraines.
Are you separated? Check. Yep. Sleep apnea.
He went straight for the hair.
I have never seen that happen in the history of our show, except when Amin did Ninja Warrior and started running and was about to take flight.
Which time?
That's a good point.
He was about to take flight. He had, I know my friend here. He was about to unspool a tapestry of complaints about why does this doctor need to know that I'm separated? This is none of his business. Like, he doesn't need to invade my marriage. You don't have to take that information too. And he was about to take flight. And then Chris Cody's just staring at his hairline. Yeah. And I saw all of Amin's insecurities leak out in front of me.
I was honestly looking at myself in the mirror there, dude. I was like, man, I've had a stressful year.
There's no mirror between me and you. Stared right at
point.
You gotta see my reflection in this.
The two of you, listen to me. The two of you staring forehead to forehead with surface area for miles.
All right, relax.
Both of you capable of being in a barbershop quartet only because of the shape of your face combined with your hairline. That was a mirror you were looking into. You're always wearing a hat.
Zagaki, that's what I mean. I'm not throwing stones, man.
You guys make fun of Chris's appearance all the time.
Zagak.
So you're saying I should see myself at the Ren Fair?